Good afternoon. This is Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Helen Anyeweja, and we are coming live to you from the Ikea Bohima studio here at Northridge. Stay with us as we bring you the latest news updates here. Thank you very much for keeping us company. Let's get into our first story for this afternoon. Ghana's President John Dramani Mahama is urging African leaders to seize control of the continent's health future. Speaking at a high-level Africa CDC meeting, Mahama warned the sharp declines in foreign aid threaten to reverse decades of progress in public health. It outlined bold steps Ghana is already taking and called on the rest of Africa to unite, invest, and act.
It's a privilege for me to join you this afternoon under a theme that directly addresses Africa's future, that is securing our health sovereignty. We're called to address the challenges Africa faces today. The truth is stark. External funding for healthcare and humanitarian assistance is declining rapidly. The U.S. Congress in July cut $8 billion from the budget for U.S. international assistance. U.S. aid contracts worth $54 billion have been terminated. This is not peculiar to the U.S. alone. The NATO allies and Europe, in order to meet the target of 5% of GDP spending for defense, are all making cuts to their overseas development assistance. If we do not take our health destiny into our own hands by shaping new strategies and partnerships, our citizens will be left without medicines, without vaccines, and without hope. And there will be a reversal in the health outcomes in Africa. The meeting of the Committee of Heads of States and Governments of the Africa CDC today is vital because as heads of state, the responsibility of leadership in protecting the health and lives of our citizens rests directly on our shoulders. We must step up to the plate and redirect resources to where they matter most. We must cut wasteful expenditure and channel funds to improving healthcare facilities, training more health professionals, producing our own medicines and our own vaccines. In Ghana, we're not just talking about sovereignty, we're working to make it real. We've passed the Ghana Medical Trust Fund Act, which is a bold new program that provides sustainable financing for people battling with non-communicable diseases. We've set up our National Vaccine Institute, backed with seed money of 75 million Ghana cedis, to make Ghana a hub for vaccine research and manufacturing for our sub-region. We're soon to roll out our free primary health care program, so that essential care is available to everyone without cost, without barriers, and without delay. Just this year, we uncapped the National Health Insurance Levy to restore 33.5 billion cedis, that's about $300 million of health funding, which was previously swept into the Consolidated Fund for Consumption. These are practical steps that demonstrate that where there's political will, sovereignty is achievable.
Now, Ghana's First Lady, Lordina Mahama, has taken to the global stage to appeal for collaborative efforts to create a peaceful world with opportunities for growth and well-being of future leaders. She was speaking at the United Nations General Assembly during the 7th Annual Prayer Service for Children.
To quote President John Dramani's words, the challenges facing our children today are immense, but they can be tackled through decisive leadership. Across the world, children are affected by conflict and humanitarian crisis. The UN estimates that hundreds of thousands of children are caught up in armed conflict. A significant number of children are in Africa, where they are robbed of their childhood, forced to fight, and go through terrible experiences. These are precious lives, destroyed by circumstances beyond their control. When nations fail to focus on policies that safeguard the home, strengthen communities, and nurture the youth. It is our children who suffer the most.
Let's do some politics now. The New Patriotic Party has taken to the street to protest against what they describe as state-sponsored harassment and abuse of power by the government. The demonstration dubbed Yensro Ehunahuna, which translates as "We are not afraid of intimidation," started at the Obra Sports near the Kwame Nkrumah Circle at 6 a.m. The organizers said the march is intended as a stand against oppression and an appeal to defend democracy, freedom, and justice. They have called on citizens, particularly young people, to join in making their voices heard. Let us hear from some of the protesters.
Thank you very much for making it to this particular point. Our message is very simple. This NDC government was voted for to come and improve the lives of Ghanaians. The NDC government sold a message of hope. The NDC government told Ghanaians that the youth are unemployed. So when they come, they will make sure that for every one job in the public sector, there will be 3 youth that will do the job. So they said 1 job, 3 shifts, 3 people. That was the 24-hour economy. NDC told us that they are going to open a bank for all our ladies so that they can get money to do business. Today, what is happening? After getting power, the NDC have forgotten their message. Today, they are using the police to intimidate Ghanaians. All we are saying is that the police are our brothers and sisters. It is true that it is politicians that give position to their bosses. But please, this is good advice to the police. Don't allow a politician to use you to be unprofessional in your behavior. Because the politician will not be there. President John Dramani Mahama, on the outside, appears to be a fine gentleman. We want that fineness to show in the behavior of his appointees, in the behavior of the police, and in the behavior of his government. You cannot come and preach virtue on the outside and practice vice inside. You cannot be telling us that we should be one people, only to treat us separately and discriminatorily. You cannot tell us that you are for all Ghanaians, but be going after a few. We support the application of the law, but not the abuse of processes in the application of the law. We support the rule of law, but not tyranny of the law. So please, this is a message to the government. If you cannot clean our water bodies, if you cannot give our jobs, if you cannot give our women money, please don't take away our right to speak. If you think someone has misspoken, take them to a judge. Let the judge give the ruling so that we will know that a judge declared us guilty. Guilt does not lie in the hands of the IGP. Guilt does not lie in the hands of a government appointee. Guilt does not lie in the hands of our adversaries. And so please, let the law work. Let democracy work for all of us and not for a few people. If you don't behave, we will come here again. If you don't allow us to sleep as police, you will also not sleep. We will always come here. We will do the job here until justice rules across all the streets in this country. From Accra all the way to Tamale. God bless you. God bless you all. Let's be professional. Let's demonstrate.
Ridiculous bail conditions that you spend a week to be able to find. Then eventually when you find the bail condition, they let you go. they are satisfied. They have no intention to go further because they know that whatever basis they use to arrest you is baseless, and they just wanted to satisfy their people. It's dangerous, and I want all of you here to join us to make this call. If somebody wrongs the law, use the law, but don't abuse the law. You remember recently came to Shatawale. I'm not sure who next. Maybe tomorrow is Vanessa.
Let's move. There are those who think
we're only falling on the government. The president said today they
Let's now cross over to our correspondent, Vanessa Edotom Boateng, for more. Good afternoon to you, Vanessa.
Good afternoon.
Right, you are on the ground. What exactly is happening? We've seen some of the protesters speak. What exactly are others saying as well?
Okay, so this protest, according to MPP, is about the state using their resources to harass its members. So the protest started at the Obra Sports Circle, and then we moved through to the CID headquarters, where they presented their petition. The MPP leadership presented their petition to the CID headquarters, representative of the IGP, and they spoke that they want an end to what they described as the CID headquarters or the police apparatus using their powers and their state resources to harass its members. And they presented their petition to them, and they now move straight to the Jubilee House. So as we speak, we are at the Jubilee House. They have also presented a petition to Alex Sekwefia. He is the Deputy Chief of Staff at the Office of the Vice President. They presented their petition to him. They also stated that they want an end to state harassment, and they also described that the government is using its resources to harass its members. So as we speak now, that is where we are. Remember, we've spoke to a few people of we spoke to some protesters. They also said that what they see is government not fulfilling its promise. They stated that government promised to fight illegal mining when they come to power, and government also promised the 24-hour economy. And they say that they have not seen anything that shows government's commitment to fulfilling these promises. So as we speak, yes, we are at the Jubilee House, and this is what is ongoing.
Okay, now, did they explain to you what exactly they mean by the government and the police harassing the members of their party?
Yes, they gave few instances when they said one of their communicators, popularly called Abronye, was detained, and they explained that there was no need for such action to be taken, especially by the police, that he was in handcuffs like a criminal. And then they also made reference to some, social media influencers who made some comments, in quotes, some derogatory comments, which they explained that they feel did not go well with government, and so they were arrested. They said they should allow freedom of speech to work. And so, yes, these are some of the things they explained, that government is using their resources to harass them.
Okay, so when they handed over their request, what was the reaction of the police and also their demeanor as well?
Yes, so at the CID headquarters, they promised to, act upon their petition. Read their petition and see how best they can come to a consensus. And in general, they said they've heard them, they appreciate the protest, and they will take into consideration what they have in the petition. And here at the Jubilee House also, Alex Sekwefia also promised that they have received the petition, it will get to appropriate authorities, and then whatever that needs to be done, it will be done.
Okay, thank you very much, Vanessa, for that update there. That was our correspondent, Vanessa Edotom Boateng, giving us up to date on what's happening at the protest and demonstration as well. Now, let's turn attention to other matters, as hundreds of unpaid nurses are on the streets of Tamale to register their frustration towards the government's delay in paying them their salaries. According to the nurses, over 15,000 of them were cleared and posted last year, but only about 7,000 of them have been paid, leaving the remaining 7,000 to suffer. They are therefore calling on government to pay their monies.
Nurses and their midwives from various health institutions, which some are from Tamale Teaching Hospital, Central Hospitals, and the others. We are here based on strugglings and the problems we have on our clearance issues, which was being released some past month ago. We've been posted, and right now we are facing a lot of challenges, as how you are talking about. Financial challenges is one of the main problems. That is why we are here. We were posted been thinking that for we to work for some months or even some months we will be paid. But right now we've waited for almost 9 to 10 months now. They've not paid us. So we are going through a lot of strugglings. Being it, some of us, we are not from here, we are from different places and we were posted here. So we've rented apartments, how to even feed, and even send to our families too is now becoming a problem. So right now we are here to channel our grievances to the government that they should look through and then help us through our problems that we are going through.
I am part of this group of nurses who in the beginning of this year were employed by the government of Ghana, and until date we haven't been paid. This has been acknowledged by the Minister of Health, and several engagements have been done, but until today we have no assurance from the government of Ghana that in the shortest possible time we are going to be paid. So today we are out in our numbers on behalf of the over 7,000 nurses who have been acknowledged by the Minister of Health that they haven't been paid yet. And we are hoping that this move would be supported by the citizens of Ghana and all well-meaning citizens of the country, in fact, worldwide.
Doside now at Tamale Teaching Hospital. You can see my night bag. I came for night with an empty stomach, no money for transport. We have a lot to play. We have a lot of responsibilities on us. Some of us are parents. And some too, I'm from Bunu East region. Look at where I've been posted. I have rented, I paid transport to work, I borrowed money from a bank to pay for my rent. Now my rent is almost due. And then the bank too is also calling me to deposit their money. Look at the interest rate, something I collected for 3 months. Now I'm to pay over 1 year for it. So please, we are begging with all due respect. We are not being mean. We are talking out of grievance and pains. Have mercy and do the needful, please. We beg you. We are in so much pain. How do you expect somebody who is in pain and hunger to go and take care of a patient? A hungry man is an angry man. Because I can't go to work with an empty stomach, then you patient will come complain. That's why they say nurses are mean. You go through all these experiences and they expect you to go and smile. How will I smile with hunger as a patient? I can't smile. Because I go already, I am frustrated in my house before coming. You come and you walk some distance that you're supposed to take transport because you are not having money. You have to walk. We even sometimes risk our lives by stopping this Okada men.
We are joined on the phone by Northern Regional Correspondent Alassane D. Baba for more on this. Good afternoon to you, Alassane.
Good afternoon.
Now, how many of the nurses are participating in this demonstration? We are told 7,000 of them have not received their payments yet.
Yes, that is very correct. According to them, there were about 15,000 that were cleared in the year 2024 and posted. But unfortunately, about half of them, that is about 7,000 of them, haven't been paid since then. And it is about 9 to 10 months now. So according to them, what is happening to them is very unfair because they cannot understand why out of 15,000, 7,000 of them are still outstanding and they don't even know what is happening. They are calling on government to do something about it because according to them, many of them are dying slowly due to lack of these salaries that are still outstanding. They also call on government to ensure that none of the months that they have worked for is reduced because according to them, the possibility of them giving them new clearance and recruiting them as new nurses is very high, which is going to be very unfair to them. So they are calling on government to do something about it. There were about hundreds of them during the protest because according to them, their members are scattered across the country. So not all of them were able to come to Tamale to take part in this demonstration. But as a matter of fact, when I watched through them, I could realize that many of them are really suffering because they were posted to the hinterlands, villages within Northern Region and other parts of the country. But they were able to make their way into Tamale, the Northern Regional Capital, to partake in this demonstration. And I could see that many of them are really from the hinterlands. And if their salaries could be paid on time, I think it's going to help them, because according to them, they are not happy. They are not a happy people. And if they go to the hospitals, they are not happy because they are thinking of what to eat next and what to wear next. According to them, some of them are even finding it difficult to buy soap to wash their clothes, to look neat, to go to the hospitals. And it's all because, according to them, they haven't been paid for this number of months. So they are calling on government to do something swift about it to ensure that their suffering is reduced.
Okay, we are aware that the primary demand is delayed payments, but is there any other specific demands these nurses are making?
Well, as we speak, that is their primary demand. That their primary objective, as we speak, is for their salaries to be paid, because they cannot understand why government or Minister of Health will tell them that their clearance has expired. Because according to them, it wasn't just that group of people that were cleared and posted. There were about 15,000 of them. So how come about half of them, you will tell them that their clearance has expired? So they are according to them, they are seeing some sort of unfair treatment in this situation, and for that matter, they are demanding on government to ensure that they are paid and paid on time, to ensure that this suffering of theirs is reduced. And according to them, their demand for now is about the payment of their salary from last year up till date, to ensure that they are also part of the kind of nurses the country is expecting them to be. According to them, even though they are doing their best to ensure that the work they have been asked to do is done the right way, they are not in the right sense of mind to ensure that that is done, because they are suffering. They don't know exactly what to eat the next day and what to use to go to work on the next day, and that is really affecting them, and that is definitely going to affect their output if nothing is done about it.
Has there been any official response from government yet at the moment, Alassane?
Well, this petition was presented to the Northern Regional the petition was presented to the Northern Regional Coordinating Council, which was received by the political coordinator of the region, Alhaji Babaje, who is also the Northern Regional Organizer of the NDC. I'm fortunate to have him right now. Let's have a word with him and hear from him what he told the nurses when they presented the petition to him.
Okay, thank you very much, Alassane Dibaba, for these updates right there. That's our correspondent, Northern Regional Correspondent Alassane Dibaba, giving us up to date of what is happening about the protests regarding the nurses that salaries has been delayed. But let's now turn our attention to other matters. Ghana has signed a bilateral government agreement with the Republic of Norway to develop and enhance its maritime security and logistics in motivating the Ghanaian fisherman. The Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who represented Ghana, and his counterpart from Norway, Asmund Grover Accra, signed the agreement in New York. Here is the Norway's Minister of International Development. Ghana's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, also indicated that the agreement will boost Ghana's blue economy and maritime security.
Between Norway and Ghana to continue to strengthen the dialogue between our two countries. There are so many things that we have in common from Norway and Ghana, so I'm very glad to have a good meeting here and to continue the dialogue between our two countries where we have so many things in common. So I'm very glad for signing this agreement.
What are we expecting to be the beneficial thing that the two countries will get out of it?
Well, we have so many things that we work together on, especially related to the climate and the ocean. We are both ocean nations, and we are chairing the ocean panel. Our Prime Minister is doing so, and we are glad that also Ghana is in the group. And we also want to strengthen multilateral cooperation. And also here, I mean, we need to step up. So therefore, I'm very glad to be here in New York and to have many meetings with good colleagues, including a very good meeting now with Ghana.
Very strong relations. In terms of the trade arena, you see that we are having a lot more businesses on both sides. Don't forget the biggest investment came from Aker Energy recently. So Norway remains a very strategic partner and we are relying on our relations to advance those very fantastic bilateral relations. I must conclude by also saying that we have discussed how we can improve on security, intelligence sharing, looking at the threat from the Sahel. As you do know, the Sahel is now the epicenter for global terrorism. And so Norway, working within the larger EU community, don't forget that not too long ago, they helped our Ghana Armed Forces and National Security with a $50 million donation in terms of military hardware and strategic equipment needed to bolster our defense and protect our territorial integrity. So we have discussed that, and this political consultation will seek to broaden all of those assistance that we can get. And we are looking at ensuring that at the end of the day, our bilateral relations benefit our people. So it will be a win-win situation for not only at the governmental level, but at the people-to-people level. And so it's been a very good bilateral engagement.
Away from that, hundreds of parents and their wards have thronged the Ghana National Association of Teachers Hall in Accra to seek clarity and lodge complaints over the 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination placement. The anxious parents, many accompanied by their children, expressed frustration over challenges ranging from misplaced placements to difficulties in assessing schools of choice. We are joined by our correspondent, Desmond Okreku-Danso, for more on this. Good afternoon to you, Desmond.
Hi, Helen. Good afternoon.
Great. Desmond, what can you tell us about the demonstration happening there?
Well, just as you mentioned, over 100 of parents and their wards are here at the NAT Hall to find solution to the current situation when it comes to the placement system. So as I got in here, there are a lot of parents with their wards here right from the entrance of the NAT Hall. You see students coming in with papers. You see brown envelopes. That's one of the things you're likely to see a lot here. Brown envelopes, which contains their results, because they're coming in with their parents to find solutions. Some of them say that they have not been given, the schools that they chose. Others say that they have chosen the schools, but they've not been given the right one. So, for instance, a parent told me that she had chosen technical schools for her ward, but when the ward got the results, it actually came as an agricultural school, and that is why she has come to sort it out. So let me just show you how it is here. So you see a lot of the wards around with the parents here. There's a lot of queue. This is the entrance to the main hall. There's a lot of queue there right to the back of the building, and also in front you have a lot of them coming in. Some of them have been told to go print their results, so that they can facilitate the process for them. Some of the parents say that it's been tedious, long queues here since they arrived, and you can see from the faces of the wards here, some are actually frustrated, some are getting tired with what the process has been so far. But we understand that the Deputy Minister of Education, Clement Apart, is going to be coming back here. He's been here already. He's going to come back here and assess the situation and how it is going so far. So definitely I'm going to be keeping tabs on what is happening here. As you can see, just look at this child here, trying to sort out, and that is the situation of many of the parents and the world who are
sorry about that hitches there, but thank you very much to Desmond for giving us the update there. That's Desmond Okreku-Danso, our correspondent here. But that's where we wrap up on today's edition of the news updates on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Helena Anyiwija. Thank you very much for making time with us. We are going for a break, but when we return, Kwesi Efriye will be getting through with you on Business Edge. Please stay.
uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame? As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Troll from Kaswa dear. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be late? Of
course.
You go be the luckiest. Go be from Georgia, be luckiest. From not the block, she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're lucky. Everybody go be that luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Send your God up a boom. If you're poor, what's that? So would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompt and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
DSTV means choosing.
Amazing acting.
Best friending while streaming.
Front row at the gaming and super fanning while on the going. Winning, binging and blockbustering. While others are white ricing, you're jolloffing.
This looks so good.
With something for everyone. Anything is possible when you're DSTVing. Start today with all sorts of packages to match your...
Some loves are born in the blink of an eye.
I've been madly in love with her since the first time I saw her. Then let's get married today.
I'll be the happiest woman in the world by your side.
And they kill your soul in a flash. Televisa presents You Are the One. Angela dreams of keeping her promise to be a great doctor and help her people. To Alvaro, ambition is stronger than his dream. And this greed will lead him to commit the worst betrayal to the woman he loves.
I will have a husband no matter what.
Samantha, will you please marry me?
Turning all her dreams into painful disappointments and dangerous consequences.
I've been waiting for you to answer my calls, Alvaro. I haven't heard anything from you. I've sent you so many messages, but you've never responded.
Have you left the bus station?
I just want to pay my debt and get out of here.
Her photographs are going to sell fast, and she will be our gold mine. Our clients will love those.
Are you looking for a boyfriend? Are you all right?
You Are the One, proudly sponsored by The Luckiest, Appointed Time Printing, Time Herbal Mixture, Samu Spices, Give Us Herbal Center, Blue
na ye de bedi ntia de ya fugia ne aduane saa soro pintin bi aseda ome de ye di koye mu ne de awie nyina na makuafo modem so won fifire so ne enya bidio na so bate aseman ga na mu a akuafo akoye abo pupu obo wasio na so da su kache wona san fifire mama mu nyina nya bidie na nso mpuntudwo mu aka akiri pa ekwan ben ne befa so ama akuafo fifire ho abanfa so de aban hyehye ne dwumadi ahodo ode bre akuafo no bo wote ase feed Ghana ye den na nkokọ ketenkete so mfa so ama akuafo so ye den we nti na hyehye dwumadi esunkwa ya to ne akuafo mo ye de bre original TV and Metro TV so dwumadi beba akwanya ama mpanyimfo anim de ewa abafukaye mu akire wadwen ye je akuafo ha no amane akogye mu aye e de afri aban mu mpanyimfo ho enimi ni ehia akuafo nyonko samo honto eda joada enwumre no nso kosi ne no nwotwe e original TV so saa so na da yawada enwumre no nwotwe kosi no nkono e Metro TV so akuafo mo Ghana akuafo abomode na yempene wo.
Equiafumo is sponsored by ACAP Compost. ACAP Compost comes in 3 varieties: ACAP Compost, ACAP Compost X, ACAP Compost Plus.
Smart, bold, unapologetic. This is Annie Ampafo. the voice of reason, a force of media. She's the one Ghana turns to every Monday morning for the headlines that matter and the conversations that shape all of us.
And on the basis of Article 34, that's the Directive Principles of State Policy, we meet here again this morning, and you're welcome to Good Morning Ghana.
And when the afternoon rolls in, she's back, cutting through the noise, asking the tough questions, and bringing clarity to the issues that matter.
A committee to investigate containers carrying ECG cables that are meant for Ghanaians or meant to provide light for the good people of Ghana.
In the morning, in the afternoon, Annie Ampofo isn't just reporting the news. She's shaping the conversations that shape all of us. Annie Ampofo, smart, fearless, unmatched, only on Metro TV. When the day ends, the real stories begin. Michael Addo.
Updates with lawyers for former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta.
Efua Ando, Sandra Ofosu, Ikuya Ababio, Dominic Ansapra. We're bringing you the latest in the world of business. Sharp, precise, compelling, unmissable, uncompromising. News Night, tonight at 7 p.m. only on Metro TV.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Business Edge, live on Good Afternoon Ghana, right here on Metro TV. So if you just tuned in, just gone by, it's the new segment of the show, Good Afternoon Ghana, and here we are on the business segment. I can tell you that it's a fully packed program, and you want to stick and stay with us through till 2 p.m. this afternoon, because we've got quite a discussion coming up. How is the gap between the academia and industry? It's been an age-old conversation where lots of industry players complain about the kind of graduates that are being churned out from the tertiary institutions and, of course, even the secondary institutions. How are they utilized in the space of industry? The academia also complain about internship programs, the businesses allowing these young people to be able to take up the challenge of learning in industry. And this is what happens elsewhere across the globe. How do we measure that? How do we continue creating employable or molding employable students and making sure that unemployment rate here in the country, which is around 14%, gets reduced by day? What's the role of the schools? What's the role of us journalists? What's the role of the industry players? We are going to stay on this because Wisconsin International University is taking up this challenge and making sure that students are churned out the way they intend for them to be. And so they have seminars, they have programs, they have activities that orient the students. Today, we'll get on one of them, which is coming up tomorrow. And of course, there will be what they call a fireside chat with one of the moguls here in the country. We'll see about that, and we'll put up the flyer for you to see when we begin the discussion, so you see what it is all about. We'll ask them whether those of us who are not students in the school will be allowed to take part in the discussion, or how it will be put out for all of us to benefit from it. So we'll get to that pretty shortly. When we finish with that, we'll get into a discussion. Somebody asked me, why are you talking about Bawumia on Business Edge or a business program? I said to him, that, yes, of course, he's putting up himself for contest. Today, he's going for vetting. Lots of people have been discussing the fact that he is an economist, the fact that he worked with the Bank of Ghana, the fact that they came into power promising production and reducing taxation, and so on and so forth, and the economy took a nosedive when he was the vice president. He is putting himself up again for contest. His economists, his business people should tell us how different is he going to be whilst he goes through the process if he's given the mandate again. So we want to do an analysis of the economic part of the man, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, this afternoon. And then we will talk a bit about fuel. So we'll go to Kopek Duncan Amwa to speak to him whether, as some people have anticipated, there is going to be an increment consistently on the fuel prices, or we would have some stability, or it may even come down. No doubt we are having some level of stability in the exchange rate. So you want to stick and stay with us this afternoon, and I'm beginning with the performance of the cedi against the major trading currencies. Of course, the dollar is what we started with. The dollar is buying for 12.26 Ghana cedis as of this morning, and so it is selling for 12.27. Well, there is 6-1, so approximately 12.28 Ghana cedis there. So that's the average interbank rate for the dollar. The euro is buying for 14.41 Ghana cedis, and these are the quotes from the Bank of Ghana's interbank exchange rate. So it is selling. The euro is selling for 14.42 at the, well, 90, so you can approximately figure it at 14.43 Ghana cedis. And the British pound sterling, is going for 16.53. Is being bought for 16.53 Ghana cedis, and it is selling for 16.55 Ghana cedis. So, how much you're going to get it for if you go to any of the commercial banks now? This is the quote you have to request from them. As to how the Abuchi is doing it, we are not able to tell. But let me come to the studio and begin with my discussion. I have some very venerable guests from the Wisconsin International University here in Accra, of course, Ghana, to talk about the fireside chat with Sir Sam Jonah. So I'll leave it for them, but let me welcome them into the studio. Fidel Tete is a lecturer at the School of Communication Studies, Wisconsin International University College here in Ghana. Fidel, thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And welcome.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm blessed.
And all is going on well.
Oh, by God's grace, you can't complain. Since we are resetting the economy, we are also readjusting our positions. So.
Exactly. And then our very own senior, I was going to ask him where he's been, maybe out of the system for a while, but he's back. Kofi Eboa is also a lecturer at the School of Communication Studies, Wisconsin International University College here in Ghana. Kofi, good afternoon.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're welcome.
And I must say, I have some very loyal Abuchi friends. They do it very quick and fast for me.
Quick and fast? But do they give you the rate you want, the rate quoted by the Bank of Ghana?
Yes.
Oh, then that's
good.
That's
why I said very loyal. And sometimes you need help during non-working hours, and they are always available.
But it's difficult to, I'm happy that you are mentioning them. It's difficult, we get them very easily, but their quotations are different from the commercial banks. So if you are getting them at that price, then we should all be chasing them.
Yeah, I think they play a major role. For me, the issue should be about how do we regulate their operations, but we can never dismiss them. They play a critical role. So how do we regulate them? We'll also come to how we are ensuring that they are not hoarding the money or they are not having, their operation is not having a negative impact on the rates.
But forgive me, so if you're watching us, Kofi is here not for the exchange rate discussion, but I'm happy he's bringing it up because last week or about 2 weeks ago, we had the executive secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, Samson Asaki Awingobit, make a statement that he doesn't believe that we should make away with the Abochi people, but rather regulate them. This is a point being corroborated by my very senior journalist, who is also a lecturer at the University of Wisconsin here in Ghana, also saying that he doesn't think, and I don't know if I can quote you, that you don't think that we should do away with Abochi people in order to stabilize the city. We need to rather regulate the operations. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. In actual fact, there are individuals who hold the dollar. Okay, so if the Abochi person will make the dollar available, I think he's better than those individuals who are holding them. And the law is not catching up on them. So I would rather I go to the Abochi seller who will give me what I need. You may not get it at the bank rate, but you are also comfortable that in the circumstances you find yourself, you are not worse off.
But should we not, as a country, be pursuing, for example, how South Africa is behaving, that you cannot trade with the dollar in any way, anyhow, with anybody apart from the banks, and the government should make sure that the banks have the dollar rather than promoting? I asked Samson that, as it is in the country, it's an illegality. If we go ahead to regularize them, it means we are making them legal. But we would have the dollar out of control, or you don't think so?
So, Gold Board is buying gold from small-scale miners, legal small-scale miners. Okay, so it's all about regulation. Okay, if we regulate their enterprise, it is just to say that there's an authority who is watching over what they are doing and ensuring that they are doing the right things. But then you can't wish them away, as I said. So let me give you a typical example. I attended a program at Addis Ababa, and just as I was about to leave, I was given the local currency as my per diem.
In Addis Ababa?
In Addis
That's
Ababa.
the Ethiopian currency?
In Addis Ababa, yes. So I tried to change it into dollar at my hotel. They said no. But when I got to the airport, I could do so. I got to the airport, they also said no.
You couldn't do that?
Yeah, I couldn't do that. But
even though you were coming back?
They will only change from the dollar to the local currency, but not the other way around. So I brought the money to Accra. It is on me. I can't use it unless I have another program in Ethiopia and I'm going back. Okay, so the point I'm making is that if there was an Abochi man there,
you would have found
I could have sorted
man
myself out.
Yes, yes. So what happened? They wanted you to spend all the money in Ethiopia before you leave?
It is a policy there that they wouldn't change from. It is also a way of a policy to control the rate of their local money. So they would not change from local currency to dollar unless you have a dollar and you want to change to the local.
That's serious. I mean, that's a good case to keep the Abochi people, but until they are regularized, we cannot advocate for them. But I agree.
So let me extend it to Okada.
Okay.
I support the idea that we should regularize them, and then we are controlling them. Okay, so
these are radical ideas.
Yes, I believe in radicalism.
They are radical ideas
because we can't play the ostrich. They live with us. So why don't you regularize them, organize them, and let them do the right thing? I work with Okada riders who are very disciplined. They wear their jackets, they wear their helmets, they do their business according to the rules. It is the reason I will also patronize them. Okay. Otherwise, they are still in the system, and they may be causing more harm. But when we organize them well, and they are made to form these unions, cooperatives, their leaders can then bring control, and we will have a better service from them.
I'm tempted to ask about Guru Boys too, because in the dollar setup we have, or the exchange rate setup, we have the Abuchi people. In transport, we have the Okada people. At DVLE, we have the Guru Boys. Even at the passport office, we have the Guru Boys. Should they be legalized and regularized too?
Myself and one senior colleague, we wanted to publish a magazine. And you will need to register a company as the publisher.
Yes, and at the registrar
magazine
too, yes.
We picked a form from the Registrar General Department. For 2 weeks, we hadn't been able to fill the form. But we got somebody, and within 2-3 days, the person filled the form for us.
As a Guru Boy.
We paid him. Okay, so I'm saying that why don't we regularize the system so that the money we pay to that person will also pay some tax.
Exactly.
Then the whole nation is gaining. Otherwise, whatever amount we pay to the person may not reflect in our tax collection, but they are there. And you are going to establish a business, and you need them.
Fidel, let me ask you too. I mean, we are taking all of us out of the context, but not to necessarily stay on what will make the city stable or what will make it all the economic analysis, but the fact that we need to regularize the Abuchi people, we need to regularize the Okada people. We are all using them. Today when I was coming, there was an accident on the road, so huge traffic, and I thought I was going to be late. So in my mind, do I park the car and get an Okada, which will get me in faster, and then after work, I go back for it? What do I was thinking around, and I didn't know what to do. The Guru Boys, DVLE, Registrar General, Passport Office, they are there. Do we regularize them? I mean, when he's in the studio, Senior General, they will always divert your course of discussion. But let me ask you too, you are also an expert in the field, and I mean, training people all the time. What do we do?
Yes, I agree with Kofi. Even if you look at our economy, you have the formal sector, the informal, and the traditional sectors. In recent conversation, probably not too distant, there have been conversations about opening the tax net. And some of the arguments have been to get into the informal sector. So those who are not consistent, I mean, offering or delivering services without paying taxes can be captured. And sometimes, this is my personal opinion, that sometimes I think as a nation, we should prioritize a lot of research in terms of our engagement with people who fall within the categories you've mentioned, the Abuchi, the Guru. Because I think sometimes some of the things we criminalize, we can decriminalize them to look at the opportunities they present.
Okay.
Because sometimes problems, as we may think of, are not all the time about negativities. Sometimes some of the problems are opportunities underexplored. And I'm sure with a lot of stakeholder engagement, which includes these Abuchis, the Guru Boys, and whatnot, will be fantastic, because then that captures their perspective with regard to some of the activities they perform. And like Kofi rightly said, then we are widening the tax net, and then the economy can gain. So the things that become criminal now are decriminalized because there is a regulator. But then the challenge will be about effectiveness in terms of monitoring. Because we can have a lot of regulatory bodies, but if the monitoring efficiency is low, then it means that even within that so-called opportunities, there can still be leakages that may still perpetuate the challenges we want to really resolve. So for me, I think that government can pay attention to some of these categories of persons and the work they do and see the opportunities and how we can tap into the opportunities.
So for you, it is the case, as Kofi says, we should decriminalize the activities of these people who are contributing to economic growth so that we can tap in it properly and officially. Kofi, is that the case?
Yes. And to add, so long as we have inefficiency in the formal sector, there will always be fertile ground for the informal sector to thrive. Okay, it cuts across every sector of the economy. Today, Momo has become very popular because, in my humble view, of the inefficiencies in the banking sector. Okay, where you are going to take 500 cedis and the frustration you go through. But Momo, you just walk across the street, you take your thing, you are gone. Okay, and initially, if I quite remember well, there was a pushback. The banks did not like the idea that the telcos were taking over their space.
Yes.
But when you bring in more regulation, it helps everybody. My illiterate mother would never go to the banking hall because she would be intimidated.
Yes.
Even me, sometimes you go there and you are so intimidated. Okay. Sometimes you go and even the form they will give you.
Yes.
I can't read them. But Momo, you go, you are gone.
This has pushed the financial inclusion conversation. This has pushed even the banks to now get on internet banking, online banking. And so I think that it's a good call to look at the positive sides of what we have criminalized, decriminalized them, regularized them, as you say.
And I'm telling you, as a journalist, I'm always interested in oddity. What is odd?
Yes.
Oddity is news.
Yes.
So I will always explore what is odd and not what is normal. So if there's a sector that we may claim to be informal, okay, I am looking at the positives in there, as my colleague said. And in every situation, there are positives. COVID came. There are positives. Today, we are having lectures online. We are having meetings online. COVID has taken us about 10 years into the future. So when we look at COVID, we shouldn't be looking at the negatives of it. But I want to explore what is positive in this, whatever situation, what is positive in it. And if we begin to look at that, and we will be up and doing in terms of, and I emphasize the word regulation.
Yes.
We will get more money. Because, of course, if the tax net is narrow or small, it means I'll be paying more. But if you widen it, it may lessen my burden or my duty.
Yes.
Okay, so let's try and widen the tax.
Yes, Fidel.
So sometimes, just to add shortly.
No, please go on.
Yeah, sometimes I think when we are a nation that we emphasize a lot on innovation. But if I pay attention to most of the discourses around innovation, they all border around ICT, IT infrastructure, digital. I mean, innovation goes beyond that. What we are talking about is part of innovation. Looking at something that you are not flexible about with a different eye and begin to explore multiple perspectives around it, because it is very easy to advance only your reality as a person, as a body, as a government, without paying attention to multiple realities about the same thing you are looking at, just like a single coin. You can be at the other end of the coin and your reality is defined by that position. Whereas the other party on the other side may be seeing a different reality, but it is the same coin. And so it is through innovative thinking that you get to explore different perspectives that can lead to change of what? Ideas. So my submission is that we look at innovation beyond the ICTs, the telecommunication, to think about social engineering or social re-engineering, the way we do our things, the way we behave, the structures and institutions in place that can lead to maximum benefits, rather than limiting ourselves because, well, this is not how it's done. This is not how it has been done. So we keep to the traditions, the conventions, without exploring other avenues. So that's the little I can.
But let me ask you this one last question. But anyway, it will lead us into the fireside chat discussion that we are supposed to have. And I have been an advocate of the academia, specifically getting into the place of policy making and policy decisions, not necessarily becoming politicians, but getting involved in formulation of policies, looking at what we need as a country, and look at the suggestions you are bringing. Why is it difficult for you? You are lecturers, and I keep asking every lecturer I meet, difficult for you to get into that space? Let me begin with you.
Yeah, it's been a very tricky issue. In my view, I think in that regard, academia has not done enough. Sometimes the argument is that we do research. We have no business in doing business. But then if you don't create the link, or you don't take it to the next level, of what use would be the research? So if you do the research and you are keeping it on the shelves, it will have no effect or impact at all. But how do we ensure that after doing research, we impact policy and decision making? That is where I think...
And also getting involved, getting in, picking up positions, making sure that you are in charge of, because the implementation is as good as the research. And if you have information on the research and what we need to do as a country, solve the Galamsey issue, solve our water problems. You have the research. People are talking about the turbidity levels and so on and so forth. You have gone into it and really understand it than the politicians sitting at the top and taking political or partisan decisions. Why don't you get in?
So, for example, in all the conversations, I've not heard the position of academia.
Exactly.
Okay. The institutions whose programs are related to the environment and so on and so forth, we don't have to reach out to them, okay, before they are speaking. They should come out and express a position on what is happening. Because sometimes the general public is talking, sometimes not based on any informed view.
Exactly.
But when you have the experts in academia coming out to present what they are doing or what they have done or what they think of the issues, then we may all form opinions around those assumptions or presentations that they bring. But I think in many instances, academia is too quiet.
You stay at the fireside chats and you finish, and that's all. Am I lying? Or is that the case?
No, so Wisconsin, we have...
I'm talking about academia in general. You stay at the forum, sharing ideas and just it.
So it is what we are trying to overturn.
Okay,
to ensure that beyond what we do in the classroom, the students will also have the benefit and take it into the workplace.
Let me ask you the same question, then I will come to the fireside chat. Why don't you get into maybe the political, but the policy space?
I think it's an issue of intentionality. You know, as a budding academic, you know, Kofi is my senior, and I'm nowhere near his level. Just joking. When I'm watching movies, like American movies, especially disaster-related movies, natural disaster-related movies, I always see a deep connection between government and scholarship, government and academia, whether scientists are researching and presenting reports to government to be acted upon. And for me, I watch these movies with a different eye because of where I belong. I think it's an issue of intentionality because if you go to many universities right now and you get into the archives, whether it's dissertations or thesis, you just flip onto the recommendation page and you see a lot of policy recommendations as a result of findings in research. But like we all say, they sit on shelves collecting dust. Who is reaching out for these studies? Is academia making available some of these documents to government, particularly if some of the studies border on critical national issues? So intentionality on the side of government and intentionality on the side of academia, because if you are in your own space and you don't advance your interests, it may be very difficult for someone to come to you and seek answers. But we are all part of governance. We contribute our part as technocrats to governance systems. And so we must be interested in what government does, problems government willing to solve, and then present papers to government based on findings that can augment probably other resources government might have acquired for itself in relation to governance, in relation to solving problems. So it's an issue of intentionality. And like you were asking, is it going to be another fireside event, a talk shop, you know, you are done, but we go away? And Kofi rightly hammered on that, that we want to move away from the theory-based learning to authenticity, where practice-driven, research-oriented teaching methodologies are employed. And one of them may include the extracurricular activities such as the event we are coming to talk about, to get students out of their comfort zones, to begin to understand the practicality of the theories they are exposed to in a real world, introducing them to industry perspective. It may be a long journey, but every journey begins with a step.
Let me ask you a straight question. I'll come back to ask how this whole thing will impact on governance. For me as a journalist, him as a senior journalist, the citizen, the layperson, everybody, I'll come back eventually to ask. But what is the fireside chat with Sir Sam Jonah? What is it about? I'll ask you and then I'll come to Kofi.
Okay, so this particular event is designed to target communication students at Wisconsin primarily, but then there are other secondary audiences that we are targeting, business students, and the entire university community, including members of the general public. Yes, so the idea is to understand the role of communication in leadership and in entrepreneurship. For example, the media is a business, and just like any business, it requires leadership. And so students must be trained and exposed to ideas that put them in readiness for the job market, not just as employees, but as entrepreneurs, people who can pick their knowledge and then create something out of it. And this requires leadership. And who else? Of course, there are so many people who are examples of leadership, but I think when we mention names like Sam Jonah, over the years, the man has become more or less an institution. Someone you can study based on his acumen, achievement over the period of time, not just in the mining industry, in finance, in education, in business. And so we believe that this interaction with such a personality and many more personalities we are yet to get on board.
Yes, I will eventually have asked if this will be the one in Rudy or eventually more would come.
Yeah, it's to give our students exposure. Exposure beyond the classroom. We want them to think practical. We want them to be business oriented. We don't want them to feel like it is one of those processes that get them a certificate. And after that, they chase around for jobs that may not even exist. And I always tell our students that, you know, the program you're pursuing as communication student is also pursued by a number of others from different institutions. At the end of 4 years, if you are not going ahead with your postgraduate studies, you are going to compete with thousands of others from UPSA, among others.
Yes.
And so what sets you apart? And I think in that process of setting our students apart, this Fire Chat event had come to the fore. So we can get our students to now understand some of the practical issues that communications can solve, and then to learn from people who have used it to advance their career over the years.
So, Kofi, you are an industry person. You've been in the field, you've been in the classroom, and it's important, as Fidel says, the leadership issues and all of that. How is this different from other forums that would see schools doing and all of that? How is it different?
So we established our seminar series since the beginning of the communications school. And if I may refresh our
Please go ahead.
Memory. Last year, we hosted then candidate John Dramani Mahama.
Oh, yes. Yes,
so,
that's right.
if anything at all, we can claim that we are also king makers, because he came to use our platform to get a mileage to become who he is now. And what is different with this particular event is moving it away from the normal seminar or lecture series where the invited guests will come and deliver a seminar. This one, we are making it quite informal. So our guest comes and sits around with students. So students are going to ask the questions.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so it is an informal chat, and Sir Sam Jonah has indicated to us he's coming. You can ask him any question.
Any question
Any
at all.
question. So he's opened himself up. And as Fidel said earlier, such a personality, his wealth of experience in various sectors of the economy, you can't have enough of him. And another unique thing is that we have 2 students at the moment, and then 1 alumnus who are going to do the interviewing. That tells something. After school, we don't leave you to go. We still keep you. We still keep you as a family. Okay, and that feeds into the point about is it going to end at the fireside? No, because we want to follow up to see the progress our students are making after school, and that is the only way you can also feel proud that whatever knowledge you imparted in them, they are making good use of them. So the informal setting of this particular one makes it quite unique.
Let me add. So right after here, there is another interview. But it's hosted by Wisconsin Radio. That is our radio. Internal radio, but it's online radio. And this radio programs are hosted by students and produced by students. And we're going to talk about the fireside chat.
So what you do is to practicalize what you are teaching the students at Wisconsin. Are we all invited? Who is allowed to come? Only students or outsiders? I would want to be part of it. Can I come?
Sure.
People
you should
that
be
are
there.
Watching, can they come?
Yes.
People that want to meet Sam Jonah.
Yes.
So once you have the time, you are interested in the topic, you are free to come. There's no gate fee at all. So it is an open invitation, even though our focus is on the communication students and other members of the university community. I must also add, Fidel spoke about the campus radio. We also have a campus newspaper.
Wow.
So in terms of
once you are there, it cannot happen that you'll be in there and then the school will run without a newspaper.
In terms of bridging the gap, what we are also imbibing in our students is that you must be well equipped, said that even after school,
you'll be able to.
You don't need to take application anywhere.
Okay.
You can establish on your own.
Okay.
And we encourage them to also have blogs and online platforms which they use to develop their writing skills and everything.
Okay.
And the beautiful thing, the beautiful thing now, unlike when I was in journalism school, is that there are so many opportunities. You can establish something on your own.
Whilst in school, even
whilst in school.
Yes.
In my days, we would write and post it on walls and trees.
On the notice board.
But now, when you write, you have many online
social media platforms to post. So, in fact, my time is actually up. But what time is it starting? So those of us who would want to join you online or listen to the radio or even walk in there, what time is it starting so we can join in?
It is starting at 4 p.m.
4 p.m. in the afternoon.
So by 4 p.m. We'll be starting. And as I said, we are inviting everybody to come. I hope to see you around.
I will. 4 p.m. is a good time for me, so I will. But thank you very much. Kofi Yeboah is a senior lecturer at the Wisconsin University. That's the School of Communications. And Fidel Tete is also a senior lecturer at Wisconsin University School of Communication. Thank you very much for being with me this afternoon, gentlemen. So it says the fireside chat with Sir Sam Jonah tomorrow, 4 p.m. You want to join in 4 p.m. on radio, online, and then in person. You can walk in. We will be there. So we'll meet my two senior men there. Thank you very much for being with me this afternoon. So what it is that we'll go straight to our next interview. And I'm going to speak to an economist, Mr. Frank Bano, who has been following the entire campaign of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and the rest of the people that are aspiring to become the presidential candidates on the ticket of the New Patriotic Party. Our concern this afternoon is why Dr. Bawumia, when a lot of people have perceived that the economy under him did not go as it was. But first of all, I'll ask him what is happening or how the vetting is going, whether he's followed it or not. So, economist, lecturer with GIMPA, and of course, and director and research, IERPP. Doc, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining me, if you can hear me.
Good afternoon to you, and thank you. Very good afternoon to your listeners as well.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great this afternoon.
It's good to have you. We understand that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has submitted himself or is submitting himself for vetting by the National Executive Committee and, of course, the team that is in charge of the vetting for the New Patriotic Party, for who will lead the NPP for the 2028 general and parliamentary elections. Doc, you are an economist. This is Business Edge. We are asking you, is he a good candidate for the 2028 general election based on everything economics and everything that we, the citizenry, have perceived for the 2028 general elections?
Thank you. I mean, to begin with, let me not mince words by stating that if you are considering vice presidents over the years, and I'm talking about since independence till date, every economist...
Hello, Doc. Doc, can you hear me?
Hello.
Kindly put on your camera for me because I can hear you loud and clear, but I'm unable to see you.
Thank you so much. I hope you're able to see me now.
I can see you well now. Thank you very much, Doc.
So the point I was making is that, it is an undeniable fact to state that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been, if not the most impactful vice president that we have since independence. And how do I see this? Years back until he came into the fray, if you even recollect, as way back as at 2006, elections in Ghana were merely led to political gimmicks in terms of people making comparison about fuel prices, etc., etc. It was when candidate Bawumia was elected or was appointed by then Nana Akufo-Addo, who was gunning for president in 2007, actually. That was when we saw that the vice president rule or the running mate rule actually has an impact on whoever is going to become a flag bearer or president in the country. We saw first in the history of Ghana, it was Dr. Bawumia who introduced what we call as the lecture series as far as political campaigning is concerned.
Yes.
It was Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia who first introduced Ghanaians to data-driven analysis, unlike previous years whereby people would just put gallons, Kofor gallons, and just say petrol, and so on and so forth. You and I are witnesses to all this, and I remember I was actually in school by then. In fact, I would say on your show that today, me, for example, I am an economist. I hold a PhD in economics. I was a statistician. My beginning was in statistics, but it was because of when Dr. Bawumia came into the scene that people like us even fell in love with economics, and we transcended into economics, and today we hold PhD in economics. So it tells you the amount of influence that the person, Dr. Bawumia, devoid of politics, has had on Ghana and on people like myself, and including many other people who are privy to the very things that I'm saying. So if you pose the question that is Dr. Bawumia the right candidate? In fact, I would say that he is the best candidate and not the right candidate. Now, why do I say he is the best candidate? You see, Ghana is at crossroads. And any time within the history of every country, we need people who have foresight to be able to move the country forward. Now, why do you till now a lot of people still talk about Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah?
Yes.
A lot of people talk about Dr. Kwame Nkrumah because of the ideas and the vision he had. It was not necessarily because of the fact that Osagyefo led Ghana to gain independence. No. It is because of the ideas and vision that Osagyefo possessed. That is why a lot of people talk about Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Now, in terms of the same ideas and vision, it will be very hard for you to find any candidate in our present-day politics who mirrors the Osagyefo in terms of ideas and vision. Early, we could see from his work as vice president. You talk about formalization of the economy. You talk about having a common or unique identity for Ghanaians. I mean, since independence from the Osagyefo's time till 2017, Ghana as a country had actually tried to implement what we call as an identity card, or what we call as the Ghana card. You remember John Agyekum Kufuor wanted to roll that out. I remember that was somewhere in 2007, thereabout. He started, we couldn't complete it. Professor J.E. Mills came somewhere in 2010. We went to queue and registered to get Ghana ID cards. If you remember that history, I remember queuing those days.
I remember. I was at the Bema camp by then.
Yes, I never got an ID card. But within 2018 till now, over 18 million ID cards has been issued, what we call as a Ghana ID card, that today certain countries, and with the recent government even coming into power, have actually admitted the fact that the Ghana card has passport features of which can also allow people to travel through and fro outside the country. I remember my last traveling in August when I was coming back to Ghana. I only needed to swipe my Ghana card when I got to the E-gate, and that was it. I didn't need to go through immigration or whatsoever. So these are ideas that the country had over the years. I'm not saying that he's the one to bring that idea, but this is something that had existed that we wanted to implement. But over the years, we couldn't do it until someone like him came into the field. That is when Ghana was able to implement it. Then we talk about formalization of the Ghanaian economy. Right. It is also through the implementation of the Ghana card. Remember, as at when Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia came into the frame, the percentage of Ghanaians, if you are taking the people who have what we call as the tax identification card, that you'll be able to identify citizens that this is someone who is registered to pay tax, it was barely around 4 to 5%. Now, with the implementation of the Ghana card and the rollout of the Ghana ID, which also became a unique identification or tax identification number for every individual, we moved from barely 4 to 5% to about 80% within a shortest possible time frame. And this is one of the right ways that if you really want to increase your tax to GDP ratio, you need to be able to identify your tax base. And for me, if we are talking about transforming and also moving away from dependency on external loan and grants, this is the game changer that if we had rolled on the subsequent policies and programs that can augment this procedure, Ghana would have moved to a high level as far as tax to GDP ratio is concerned. So this is just a little to support the idea that he is not just the right person, but he's the best person for the job going into 2028.
I agree with all that you have said, Doc, and that's a very powerful exposition of the candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. We all grew up to learn some of the things. I was in university by then, or I was completing by then when he was doing the lecture series and bringing some of the things that we had never learned about on. However, you have taught us, the doctors of economics have taught us about expectations in economics, and I believe that you agree with me that expectations were maybe over the bar or too high for the NPP government because of His Excellency Dr. Bawumia, who was coming in by then as the vice president. And so, as we speak now, the difficulties that the NPP government faced are being pinned on him. That is part of the problems, the difficulties that the government faced and the reason why the NPP lost power. Does it still make him the best candidate, as you say?
So in terms of the achievements, I mean, let's do a holistic analysis of the achievement of the NPP government as far as the economy is concerned. Now, we are looking at the holistic achievement from 2017 up until 2020 and 2022, when we had the twin external shocks, which is the COVID-19 and then Russia-Ukraine. Now, before the Russian, the COVID-19, now from 2017 to 2019. I mean, that was the period that the city had one of its stability, and the data is there for you. You can just peruse it. I mean, the NDC government left power with about 4.3 to $1. And between that period, we have barely the city moving to 6 cities. I think it ranged between 4.9 to about 5.5, thereabout within almost a period of about 4 years. And that is one of the best management of the city within that period. Again, let's look at other economic indicators like inflation. It was during that period, especially in 2019, that Ghana had one of its lowest inflationary rate of about, I think, 7.2 or 7.3%. This is facts that you can also refer. In terms of growth rate, if you look at the economy that the NPP inherited in 2016, an economy that was growing barely 2.8%. Now, between 2017 to 2019, we had an average growth rate of about 6.6% within that period. So all these economic indicators is telling you that in terms of his prowess in managing the economy, it is undoubted and it is second to none. Now, what happened after this period? We had COVID-19 coming in, and I don't want to go into the details of its associated impacts. Right after Ghana exited COVID-19, remember it was in 2020 that we had a growth, one of our lowest growth rates, which is during COVID, with lockdowns and all its antecedents, that we had a growth rate of about 0.5%. Now, right after COVID-19, you saw that Ghana picked up with a growth rate of, I think, about 5.4% in 2021. Then in 2022, we had Russia and Ukraine. And my brother, you and I were actors. That it was during this period that a lot of economies, including even the almighty United States, has one of its highest inflationary rates. If you pick Britain, one of its highest inflationary rates in about 30 years. If you pick Germany, it was during same period that the German, if Parliament, if I'm so to put it, had to remove the cap that they had placed on their budget deficit, that the budget deficit that can't go beyond a certain threshold. The German government actually had to convene and remove that cap. So it tells you a lot what the world went through during this period of time. And of course, Ghana was not spared from some of these impacts that we saw. Now, to paint the picture clearer, look at today, we've seen fuel XP going up for about 13.8, right? Now let's compare to this same period. Today, a crude Brent on the global market, I checked this morning, it was about $65.01 on the global market. Now, during that period of time, we had Brent crude going a little over $100 per barrel. And how much was oil, a little of oil on our market. You also look at depreciation of the city because of the effects that all these things brought. Just not to say that Dr. Mahmood Bawumia could have done anything extraordinary beside the existing policies. But let's look at his reaction at that point in time. You see, when you are faced with challenges, that is when we get to know the true leadership of an individual. And you and I will bear him out that it was during this same period that he led innovative ideas for like gold for oil policy. He also introduced the domestic gold purchasing program, of which today even the current NDC government allude praise to, that it is one of the reasons that we saw the city having one of its strongest performance against the US dollar. Let's talk about the gold for oil purchasing program that he also introduced, so that we wouldn't have so much pressure on the city in terms of converting more city to a dollar. And all these innovative ideas came as a result of Dr. Mahmood Bawumia during crisis. So it is good to look at the crisis that Ghana went through, but it's also important to lay in terms of the ideas that the man was able to churn out to combat these crises, that later on would take us out of the crisis that we find ourselves. So these are some of the critical measures and matrices that we should assess the man in terms of his ideas and output and growth to the economy as a whole.
Super. A very good one, Doc. But let me finally ask you, with all of these things that are said, people have reduced, or some opposing candidates have reduced the conversation to turning these ideas into practicality. And they use themselves, for example, you can talk about Dr. Brian Acheampong, you can talk about Kennedy Ohinejapong, saying that they have ideas which they have used to establish businesses. And so DMB should show same if he thinks his ideas are anything to go by. The vote is going to, first of all, be done by delegates, and they seem to be listening to that. What should they listen to?
Now, like I said, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, our beloved first president, never owned a business. Is there any part in history whereby we are told that Dr. Osadefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah owned a business or established a company? Of course not. But there is no single person who owned businesses at that time whom Ghana would appreciate more than the Osadefo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Mm-hmm. And I really point that because of the ideas and vision, countries are big. Let me cite this example for my listeners. You see, there is a country called India. Okay, India had its independence in 1947. So roughly, India is about 10 years older than Ghana. Ghana had its independence in 1957. Now, there are a lot of business people in India, but India was fortunate to have a leader who had vision. Now, within that period, transition from the period that India had vision, going into, India had their independence. It was within that same period, I think about less than 20-year period, that we had the third industrial revolution. And the third industrial revolution here, I'm making reference to the discovery of computers, which happened in the early 50s to 60s, right? Mm-hmm. Now, India was fortunate to have a leader who had vision. And this leader sat down and told himself that, yes, computers have not been discovered in India. Computers have been discovered, the IBMs have been founded and discovered in the United States of America. But the future, this is the vision that I have, that in terms of computer and ICT knowledge, India will be the pioneer and driver of computer and ICT knowledge. Exactly. Even though we are not the businesses that establish the development of computers. And my brother, today, as we sit here, I ask you a simple question. Mm-hmm. Who is the CEO of Google? The CEO of Google is from India. Who is the CEO of Adobe? The CEO of Adobe is from India. Who is the CEO of IBM, where the business that developed computers came from. That person is from India. So it tells you that clearly it is good to establish businesses, but it is also good to have someone who can see into the future, who can tell the future and development and growth of that business. And this is what Dr. Mahmood Bawumia possesses and makes him unique among his competitors. And that is the reason why candidates and, for that matter, delegates should be more focused on Dr. Mahmood Bawumia, the man with unparalleled vision who can transform not just their lives, but the life of Ghanaians and Ghana as a country.
Thank you very much, Doc, for your time this afternoon. I'm quite excited how you've put the points together. We'll come back to you in the course of time as the campaign goes on. We'll still do the economic analysis. For us here on the afternoon, it is business edge. But when it's politics too, we'll do the politics of it. But thank you very much for your time. That's Dr. Frank Bano, who is an economist and has been following the NPP's presidential primaries. He's been talking to us about the economic strength of the candidate DMB for the primaries, who wants to become the candidate for the 2028 general elections. Stay with me. I'm going to talk quite a bit about fuel, and I'm getting on Duncan Ambua, who is the executive secretary of COPEC. Stay with me.
I'm a branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Kwame and his uncle are almost here.
Wait a minute. This one too, your friend Kwame.
Wait, Kwame. As in the same Kwame again?
Yes, Mommy.
I'm the second coming. Into all this tension just to reintroduce that broke boy from Kaswa.
Why would you deceive the family like this again?
Now I understand the whole delay. Trotro from Kaswa. Why wouldn't he be late? Or be later?
Of course.
Star 712 hash, star 712 hash. You go be the luckiest. Coffee from Georgia be luckiest. From Natevia, cause she be luckiest. Yeah, you go be luckiest. No matter why you're luckiest. Everybody go be the luckiest.
That's Kwame!
Senya God Apple Boom! If you put it away, so would the coming of the Son of Man be. Is that his car?
Dial star 712 hash. Choose your ticket. Enter your lucky number. Follow the prompts and let destiny handle the rest.
This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform.
This BB9 Jazz Season 10. No filters, no scripts, no holding back. Cause it's 10 times the drama, 10 times the rivalry, 10 times the game. This is certified. No zero, no minus. Big Brother 9 Jazz Season 10 on Showmax.
Right, you all come back from that. And I told you that I'm going to get the executive secretary of COPEC to speak to. And I'll read a bit of this to you. Some OMCs, that's oil marketing companies, have begun adjusting prices at the pumps, with GOIL leading the way. A liter of petrol is now selling at 13.38 Ghana cedis, up from 12.99 Ghana cedis on September 2. That's as of 2nd September 2025. Diesel has also increased from 14.20 per liter to 13. That's from 13.90 to 14.20. GOIL is the second largest player in the industry. It is the first to adjust the prices after most OMCs kept their DS unchanged for about a week, despite projections that prices should have gone up by about 6% per liter from September 16. Industry watchers are uncertain whether GOIL's move will trigger similar increases across the more than 200 OMCs nationwide. Good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining me, Duncan Amoah. I hope you're doing well.
We are fine. I'm sure you are also doing well, Metro TV.
Yes, we are doing very well by the grace and mercies of God. The statement I read, the last part said, industry watchers are uncertain whether GOIL's move will trigger similar increases. You have been giving us data all the time, and it is exactly as you say, whether you are projecting an increase or a decrease. Do you anticipate an increase?
Let me first start off by saying the OMCs have been very fair to all of us for this particular window. Today happens to be about the 6th or 7th day since the new window began. And fortunately, they've all kept their prices at the levels prior to the commencement of the second window, September. So for that, I think that we owe them tons of applause for not rushing to go increase their prices as we have seen them do in the past. You questioned whether GOIL's move today will trigger similar increments with their other OMCs. I'm surprised. I'll be surprised if by close of day, the other bigger oil marketing companies have not gone up. This is due largely to, as it were, computational issues. Within the past 2 weeks, prior to the commencement of this window that we happen to be in, the cedi lost grounds. If you recall, from average interbank rates of around 11.5, most of the interbank quotations ended trading after the fortnight around 12, almost 13 Ghana cedis. And so that was some beating that the cedi took, and that clearly would have had an impact on how much the OMCs or the BDCs would need to recoup to be able to offset their importation values or figures. And that is why we are surprised that prices didn't go up the same day that the second window began. That was the 16th of month. I think that they have been very phenomenal on this occasion.
And so it is good.
I do not expect them to continue to maintain their prices at the levels they are. They are likely to go up, if not today, by tomorrow. I'm sure a lot of them would have adjusted quite a bit. I must also add that though GOIL has gone up, the margin of increase is not too heavy as earlier anticipated. I think they have done what we call cross pricing, where instead of doing 4% here, 6% or 7% there, 7% there, they decided to do between 30-40 pesos adjustment for both products. That for us is okay. The only challenge some of us would have is the special products, the V-Power, the Raw 95 prices. Those are still quite high.
Yes.
And I think that they may want to take a look at those ones. About 15 Ghana cedis a liter that's quite high, if you ask.
But considering
Every year.
considering the environment, you are an expert in the field, and Christmas is coming up, moving towards Christmas. Do you see marginal changes, or do you see heavy changes coming up in the pricing of oil?
Well, I had a similar question, to answer yesterday with the transport operators, who clearly are asking for an increment in transport fares. They are interested in outlook. I must be quick to put on record that at the start of January this year, petrol prices were hovering around 14 Ghana cedi 99,
Yes.
a little under 15 Ghana cedis. You recall when prices started declining, there was the conversation for them to go and reduce transport fares. Some did, some didn't. So for those who did, the problem will be that if pre-January 2025, around 14.99, and gold is currently doing about 13.38, there's still some difference, but it's not too much. If you put the two together, and the fact that they have had to decline on their fares by some 15%, if the government does not watch these developments and does not sustain the local currency, and there's another increment, I am not sure any of us, in the right sense of the word or in our moral clothing, will be able to tell the transport operators not to go up on fares, because that would be unfair. So the outlook we cannot put a hand to. It will largely lie with the Bank of Ghana to do whatever it needs to do, so that the cedi does not take a battering like it did within the past 2-week period. If that happens, then we can be inching for some stability and a possible reduction. But if the cedi continues to be that unstable, then you could as well imagine we may be in for some spot of increases, although international market prices are not bad at present. The cedi continues to be the challenge.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. But let me divert a bit. And we've read that the NPA is staging a war against illicit fuel trade. Let me ask you, we hear of smuggling in the northern parts of Ghana to Burkina Faso and, for example, so on and so forth. Is there illicit trade in Ghana?
Every year, I am one of the people who get upset when you hear we are staging a war against what is illegal. Once the law says this is wrong, should not be done. Per the current NPA Act 691, it is quite clear that to handle, to transmit, to store, or to trade petroleum products, one would need some licensing. These licenses are not procured by ghosts, they are procured by people.
Yes.
So if you do a little unveiling and somebody has engaged in an illegality, I think that sanctions should apply. I think that the public should be adequately informed. And then again, I am also not happy when stations are found to have done some tampering, and then the NPA goes in there to find them and collect money. The sin, so-called, that is committed by those few stations that do the wrong things, is not committed against the NPA. It's committed against the unsuspecting consumer who might have bought fuel and might have been challenged one way or the other. Their engines will be challenged. Then the NPA goes in, finds them. Then the next day you find the station back to operation. I think that era has got to come to an end somewhat. If the stations are found to have done the wrong things, put a red tape there, let the public be aware that this station was doing the wrong thing, especially when the adjudication process is not solely one that the NPA initiates, prosecutes, and then passes its own sanctions. If we go through proper adjudication and it's found that the station did something untoward, the public deserves to know, so that it becomes some deterrence. But where you go in, you collect money in the name of fines, the stations are back to work, we would never be able to cure that mischief of what you call illegality. Illegality should not even exist in the first place. And once they exist, it tells you of some regulatory failures within the system that should have applied earlier. Once the NPA is telling you they are going to fight it, it tells you that somebody is not doing his or her job as it should. Because if you are going around do your inspections, whoever you find to have gone against the rules of engagement, you are supposed to apply sanctions, and you are supposed to communicate to the unsuspecting public who depend on them for fuel every year.
But how does it happen? That's why I asked, first of all, whether it exists, and if it does, whether low quality fuel, whether whatever it is, how? I mean, you are there. How does it happen? It should come from the bulk distributors and so on and so forth. How does it happen, Duncan?
Free, your question is extremely valid. How? Petroleum transportation or transmission from one depot to the other or one point to the other is not, as it were, probably a piece of diamond that you can just put in your pocket and nobody sees how you moved it from one point to the other. So once we are moving products from one point to the other, there's supposed to be a tracking that is monitored. And that tracking seems not to do anything, yet you and I are paying over 128 million Ghana cedis for that every single month. So if there's a failure on the part of tracking, which allows the bad fuel to end up in some stations, then we need to question the entire process. If again, you also have systems that have been set up that you and I are aware of, especially when you go through the Tema and Po enclave, you would find some of these yards with very tall walls that engage in some of these unscrupulous behavior that we are all aware of, and they still continue to operate. You don't blame the unsuspecting public. You have the law at your disposal, you have the powers at your disposal to clamp down on these illegalities, but you allow them to fester. Then you come out to communicate that you are going to fight them. I do not think that you will need to inform the public you are going to do what you are supposed to do. That should not be countenanced. And I think that the earlier they take the mandate per Act 691 seriously, the better it be for all of us. Petroleum illegality is not something that is done in people's bedrooms. It is done in the open. People are aware. If somebody opens a fuel station and doesn't have the requisite permit, EPA will not even allow you to, site. The assemblies will not allow you to site and start selling. MPA would not, Ghana Standards Authority will not. So if we come back to tell the people that there's illegality in the system, we are now going to fight. It tells you of regulatory failures, and that needs to be addressed holistically every year.
And so the MPA's action of staging a war is misplaced.
What if you're staging a war, then it presumes or presupposes that you have allowed a canker not only to have developed, but to become entrenched, right? And I am saying that to hold, to transmit, to sell, to do anything with fuel in Ghana, the law is clear. So if somebody has been somewhere doing the wrong thing for a week,
right,
and the person has not been found out,
right,
especially dealing with large volumes, if it is not I'm buying fuel 1 gallon just to be able to put in my car,
right,
or my generator,
right,
that's a different thing. If I'm selling in larger volumes, in thousands of liters,
yes,
and then the authority.
Right. Thank you very much. Duncan Amoah is the Executive Secretary of COPEC, that's Chamber of Petroleum Companies. Thank you very much, Duncan. This has been Business Search, of course, with me, Kwesi Afriyie. Stay with Metro TV because we've got lots and lots and lots of exciting programs for you. Good afternoon.
When the day ends, the real stories begin.